Good evening, friends. Namaskar. I am Bipul Kumar. Today, I am discussing changes in international taxation in Budget 2021-22. There are four changes in international taxation. First, relaxation to non-resident Indian for income of retirement benefit account. Second, clarification for equalization levy. Third, substitution of the authority for advance ruling with board for advance ruling. Fourth, alignment of the MAT for advanced pricing agreement and secondary adjustment. Dear friends, in right side of the presentation, you see the budget speech, and left side you see memorandum of understanding clarifying legislative intention for inserting changes in the international taxation. First, relaxation to non-resident Indian for income of retirement benefit account. In budget speech, there is a note in the given in the table. In order to remove genuine hardship faced by non-resident Indians in respect of their income accrued on foreign retirement benefit account due to mismatch in taxation, it is proposed to notify rules for aligning taxation of income arising on foreign retirement benefit account. In memorandum of understanding, it is mentioned that representation have been received in that there is a mismatch in the year of the taxability of withdrawal from the retirement fund by resident who had opened such fund when they were not resident in India and resident in foreign country. At present, the withdrawal from such fund may be taxed on receipt basis in such foreign countries while on accrual basis in India. In order to address the mismatch and remove genuine hardship, it is proposed to insert a new section 89A to the Act to provide that income of a specified person from a specified account shall be taxed in the manner and in the year as prescribed by the central government. It is also proposed to define the expression a specified person as a person resident in India who opened a specified account in a notified country while being non-resident in India and resident in that country. A specified account is proposed to be defined as an account maintained in a notified country which is maintained for retirement benefit, and income from such account is not taxable on accrual basis and is taxed by such country at the time of the withdrawal of or redemption. Notified country is proposed to be defined to mean the country notified by the central government for the purpose of this section in the official gazette. This amendment will take effect from 1st April 2022 and will accordingly apply to the assessment year 2022-23 and subsequent assessment years. Dear friend, in finance bill, a new section 89A is inserted for this purpose. 89A inserted after section 89, effective from the first day of the April 2022. In this section, there is a refer that where a notified person has income accrued in a manner as accrued in a specified account, such income shall be taxed in such manner and in such year as may be prescribed. Explanation: for this purpose of this section, a specified person means a person resident in India who opened a specified account in a notified country while being non-resident in India and resident in that country. Second, a specified account. A specified account means an account maintained in a notified country by the specified person in respect of his retirement benefit, and the income from such account is not taxable on accrual basis, but is taxed by such country at the time of the withdrawal or redemption. A notified country means the country as may be notified by the central government in the official gazette for the purpose of this section. This is the first change in the international taxation. Let's see second changes. Clarification for the equalization levy. In budget speech, it is written that in order to provide certainty, it is being expressly clarified that transactions taxable under Income Tax Act are not liable for equalization levy. Further, it is also proposed to clarify regarding applicability of equalization levy on physical or offline supply of the goods and services. In Memorandum of Understanding, legislative clarify his intention, rationalization of the provision of equalization levy. Under section 165A of the Finance Act 2016, as inserted by section 153 of the Finance Act 2020, equalization levy is to be levied at the rate of the 2% of the amount of the consideration received or receivable by an e-commerce operator from e-commerce supply or services made or provided or facilitated by it to a person resident in India or to a non-resident in the specified circumstances as referred in subsection 3, or to a person who buys such goods or services or both using internet protocol address located in India. For this purpose, e-commerce supply or service is defined as to mean, first, online sale of the goods owned by the e-commerce operator. Second, online provision of the services provided by e-commerce operator. Third, online sale of the goods or provision of services or both facilitated by the e-commerce operator. Fourth, any combination of activities listed in clause 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Clause 50 of section 10 of the Act provide exemption for the income arising from any specified services provided on or after the date on which the provision of Chapter 8 of the Finance Act 2016 comes into force or arising from any e-commerce supply or services made or provided or facilitated on or after first day of April 2021 and chargeable to equalization levy under that chapter. It is seen that there is a need for some clarification to correctly reflect the intention of the various provisions concerning the levy. Hence, it is proposed to carry out following amendment in the Finance Act 2016. Insert an explanation to section 163 of the Finance Act 2016, clarifying that consideration received or receivable for specified services and consideration received or receivable for e-commerce supply or services shall not include consideration which are taxable as royalty or fees for technical services in India under Income Tax Act, read with the agreement notified by the central government under section 90 or section 90A of the Income Tax Act. Second, insert an explanation to clause CB of section 164 of Finance Act 2016, providing that for the purpose of defining e-commerce supply or service, online sale of the goods and online provision of the services shall include one or more of the following activities taking place online. First, acceptance of offer for sale. Second, placing the purchasing order. Third, acceptance of the purchase order. Fourth, payment of the consideration. Or fifth, supply of the goods or provision of services partially or wholly. Amend section 165A of the Finance Act 2016 to provide that consideration received or receivable from e-commerce supply or services shall include consideration for sale of the goods irrespective of whether the e-commerce operator owns the goods, and second, consideration for provision of services irrespective of whether the service is provided or facilitated by e-commerce operator. This amendment will take effect retrospectively from 1st April 2020. In short, to provide certainty, expressly clarified that transactions taxable under income tax are not liable for equalization levy, and also proposed to clarify applicability of equalization levy on physical or offline supply of goods and services. These are changes. Next changes, third, substitution of authority for advance ruling with board for advance ruling. Dear friend, so ensure faster disposal of the cases, it is proposed to replace authority for the advance ruling with a board for advance ruling. It is also proposed to provide appeal against the order of such board to the High Court. Reason of such changes. Constitution of the board for advance ruling. With a view to avoiding dispute in respect of the assessment of the tax liability and to provide tax certainty, a scheme of advance ruling was incorporated in the Act by Finance Act 1993 by inserting a new chapter 19B. Under this provision, the authority for advance ruling pronounces ruling on the application of the non-resident, resident, and such ruling are binding both on the applicant and the tax department. Authority for advance ruling consists of a chairperson and a various chairman, revenue member, and law members. There are three benches of the authority. The principal bench consists of chairman, one revenue member, and one law member. The other benches consist of one vice chairman, one revenue member, and one law member. A bench cannot function if the post of the chairman or vice chairman is vacant. As per section 245(o) of the Act, person eligible for appointment as chairman of advance authority ruling are retired judges of the Supreme Court, retired chief justices of the High Court, or retired judge of a High Court who has served in that capacity for at least 7 years. Similarly, the person eligible for appointment as vice chairman are retired judges of High Court. As per past experience, the post of the chairman and vice chairman have remained vacant for a long time due to non-availability of the eligible persons. This has seriously hampered the working of the advance authority ruling. And large number of the applications are pending since the last many years. There is therefore a need to look for an alternative method of providing advance ruling which can give ruling to taxpayer in timely manner. Hence, it is proposed to constitute a board of advance ruling and to make the following amendment in the existing provision of the authority of advance ruling. First, authority for advance ruling shall cease to operate with effect from such date as may be notified by the central government in the official gazette, hereinafter referred to as the notified date. Second, it is proposed that the central government shall constitute one or more board for the advance ruling for giving advance ruling under the said chapter or on and after the notified date. Every such board shall consist of 2 members, each being an officer not below the rank of the chief commissioner. Advance ruling of such a board shall not be binding on the applicant or the department, and if aggrieved, the applicant or the department may appeal against the ruling of the order passed by the board before the High Court. Third, since the work of authority shall be carried out by the board for advance ruling on and after the notified date, the amendments are proposed to be made to the various provisions of the chapter to this effect. Fourth, section 245N is proposed to amend it to incorporate the definition of the board of advance ruling, notified date, member of the board of advance ruling, and change in the definition of the authority to include the board for advance ruling. Section 245O is proposed to be amended to provide that the authority constituted under the said section shall cease to operate on or after a notified date. Section 245OB shall be inserted to provide for the constitution of the board of the advance ruling. Section 245P is proposed to be amended to provide that on and from the notified date, the provision of the said section shall have effect as if the words authority, the words board for the advance ruling had been substituted. Section 245Q, which deals with filing of application, is proposed to be amended to provide that pending application with the authority, that is in respect of which order under section 245R subsection 2 or subsection 4 has not been passed before the notified date, shall be transferred to the board for the advance ruling along with the all records, documents or materials by whatever name called, and shall be deemed to be records before the board for the all purposes. Ninth, section 245R, which deals with the procedure, is proposed to be amended to provide that on or from the notified date, the provision of the said section shall have effect as if for the words authority, the words board for advance ruling had been substituted, and provision of the said section shall apply mutatis mutandi to the board for advance ruling as they apply to the authority. The central government is also proposed to be empowered to make a scheme by notification in the official gazette for the purpose of giving advance ruling by board of advance ruling under this provision. The scheme shall impart greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability by elimination interface to the extent technologically feasible, by optimizing utilization of the resources and introducing dynamic jurisdiction. The central government may, for the purpose of giving effect to the scheme by the notification in the official gazette, direct that any of the provision of the act shall not apply or shall apply with such exception, modification and adaptation as may be specified in the notification. However, no such direction shall be issued after the 31st day of March 2023. Every such notification shall, as soon as may be after the notification is issued, be laid before each house of the parliament. Section 245S, which deals with the applicability of advance ruling and makes it binding on the assessee and the department, is proposed to be amended to provide that nothing contained in this said section shall apply on and after the notified date. Section 245T, which deals with advance ruling to be void in certain situations, is proposed to be amended to provide that on and from the notified date, the provision of said section shall have effect as if the words authority, the words board for advance ruling had been substituted. Also, a specific reference to advance ruling pronounced by the authority shall be amended to make it advance ruling pronounced under subsection 6 of section 245R, show that board for advance ruling can also exercise powers under the said section in respect of the ruling pronounced by the present authority. Next, under section 245 EU is proposed to be amended to provide that on and from the notified date, the power of the authority under the said section shall be exercised by the board for advance ruling, and provision of said section shall apply mutatis mutandi to the board for advance ruling as they apply to the authority. Section 245V is proposed to be amended to provide that nothing contained in the said section shall apply on and after the notified date. Next, a new section 245W is proposed to insert it to provide for appeal to High Court against the order passed or ruling pronounced by the board for advance ruling. This appeal can be filed by the applicant as well as the department. Such appeal shall be filed within 60 days from the date of the communication of such a ruling or order in such form and manner as may be prescribed. However, where the High Court is satisfied on an application made in this behalf that appellant was prevented by sufficient cause from presenting the appeal within the period specified in this section, it may allow a further period of the 30 days for filing of such appeal. The central government shall be empowered to notify a scheme for filing of appeal by the assessing officer so as to impart greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability by optimizing utilization of the resources through economics of the scale and functional specialization. Introducing a system with dynamic jurisdiction, the central government may introducing a system for this purpose, giving effect to the scheme by notification in the official gazette, direct that any of the provision of act shall not apply or shall apply with such exception, modification, and adaptation as may be specified in the notification. However, no such direction shall be issued after 31st day of March 2023. Every such notification shall, as soon as may be after the notification is issued, be laid before each house of the parliament. Reference to Customs Act 1962, Central Excise Act 1944, and Finance Act 1994 in definition of the applicant in the section 245A and in section 245Q relating to the application of advance ruling is proposed to be omitted. This amendment will take effect from the 1st April 2021. Next changes, alignment of the minimum alternate tax for advance ruling agreement and secondary adjustment. In budget speech, it is mentioned that in order to provide relief to the taxpayer in whose case MAT liability has arisen in the year of the repetition on account of the advance pricing arrangement agreement or secondary adjustment, is proposed to provide relief by the aligning the MAT provision with the year of the taxability of such income. For this purpose, legislative intention given in the memorandum of understanding is rationalization of the provision of the MAT. Section 115JB of the Act provide for the MAT at the rate of the 15% of its book profit in case tax on the total income of company computed under normal provision of the Act is less than 15% of book profit. Book profit for this purpose is computed by making certain adjustment to the profit disclosed in the account and loss account. Disclosed in the profit and loss account prepared by the company in accordance with the provision of the Companies Act 2013. Representation were received that the computation of the book profit under section 115JB does not provide for any adjustment on account of the additional income of the past years included in the books of account of the current year on account of the secondary adjustment under section 92CE or on account of an advance pricing agreement entered with the taxpayer under the section 92CC. Representation has also been received that since dividend income is now taxable in the hands of the shareholders, dividend received by a foreign company on its investment in India is required to be excluded for the purpose of the calculation of book profit in case the tax payable on such dividend income is less than MAT liability on account of concessional tax rate provided in the double taxation and avoidance agreement. Hence, it is proposed to provide that in case where the past year income is included in the books of the account during the previous year on account of an advance pricing agreement or secondary adjustment, the assessing officer shall on an application made to him in this behalf by the assessee recompute book profit of the past year and tax payable, if any, during the previous year in the prescribed manner. Further, the provision of the section 154 of the Act shall apply so far as possible, and period of the 4 years specified in subsection 7 of section 154 shall be reckoned from the end of the financial year in which the said application is received by the assessing officer. To provide similar treatment to dividend as already there for capital gains on transfer of security, interest, royalty, and fee for technical services. In calculating book profit for the purpose of section 115JB of the Act, so that both a specified dividend income and the expenses claimed in respect thereof are reduced and added back while computing book profit in case of the foreign companies where such income is taxes at lower than MAT rate due to double taxation avoidance agreement. This amendment will take effect from the 1st April 2021 and will accordingly apply to the assessment year 2021-22 and subsequent assessment years. These all are changes in the international taxation. There are 4 changes. First, relaxation to the non-resident India for income of retirement benefit account. Second, clarification for equalization levy. Third, substitution of the authority for advance ruling with board for advance ruling. And fourth, alignment of the minimum alternate tax for advance pricing agreement and secondary adjustment. The purpose is very clear in the budget speech. First, relaxation of the non-resident Indian for income of retirement benefit account in order to remove genuine hardship faced by the non-resident Indian in respect of their income accrued on foreign retirement benefit account due to mismatch in taxation. It is proposed to notify rules for aligning taxation of the income arising on the foreign retirement benefit account. Second, clarification for equalization levy in order to provide certainty. It is being expressly clarified that transactions taxable under income tax are not liable for equalization levy. Further, it is also proposed to clarify regarding applicability of the equalization levy on physical or offline supply of the goods and services. Further, substitution of the authority for advance ruling with board for advance ruling. To ensure faster disposal of the cases, it is proposed to replace authority for advance ruling with a board for advance ruling. It is also proposed to provide appeal against the order of such board to the High Court. Next, alignment of the MAT for advance pricing agreement and secondary adjustment in order to provide a relief to the taxpayer in which case MAT liability has arisen in the year of repartition on account of the advance pricing agreement or secondary adjustment. It is proposed to provide relief by aligning the MAT liability provision with the year of the taxability of such income. Dear friends, thank you so much for watching or this video or hearing budget speech suggesting proposal for changes in international taxation. We are hopeful that this finance bill in respect of international taxation changes will incorporate become part of the Finance Act after passing of the finance bill and taking consent from the President of India. Thank you so much.